Did you know one man changed the fate of an entire continent? Starting from a tiny island in the Mediterranean, he was not born into power. He seized it, not raised a king, but crowned himself emperor. This is not the tale of privilege. It is the rise of a storm named Napoleon Bonaparte. From humble beginnings on the island of Corsica, Napoleon rose through the ranks to become a military hero during the French Revolution. However, his ambitions didn't stop there. Yearning for more power and glory, he seized control of France in a daring coup and crowned himself emperor, marking the end of the French Revolution and the beginning of the Napoleonic era. With a combination of military brilliance, political cunning, and a relentless pursuit of power, Napoleon conquered much of Europe, leaving an enduring legacy that continues to fascinate historians and ignite debates about his place in history. Join me on a journey back in time where we will explore the meteoric rise and ultimate downfall of Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who became an icon of ambition, military genius, and controversial leadership. Chapter 1. Corsica. The Outsider Child. Corsica, 1769. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in poverty, the second son of a minor noble family. To the French, he was foreign. To the Corsicans, to French, he belonged nowhere. His childhood was marked by poverty, hardship, and bullying. Corsican society, influenced by their long history of foreign rule, valued lineage and connections. And Napoleon lacked both. He was an outsider. His family's meager wealth made him a target. As he grew older, his Corsican accent, diminutive stature, and fiery temperament became easy targets for mockery. It was a hard lesson in life. If you're nobody, you can only go up. From the age of 10, he showed signs of ambition, competitiveness, and mental acuity. He devoured books on war, history, philosophy. But inside that Corsican boy burned ambition. He wanted to conquer, not escape. At 9, he was sent to military school in France. At first, homesick and isolated, he turned inward. He studied, absorbed knowledge like a sponge. He excelled in academics, especially math, but also learned the art of strategy, planning, logistics. He honed his mind and body. He was no longer the scrawny kid from Corsica. He would make it on brains and brawn. He graduated top of his class, but despite his academic success, he faced prejudice due to his background. In 1785, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the artillery. Despite being qualified, he was overlooked for promotions because of who he was, not what he could do. But Napoleon knew his worth. He waited for his chance. He trained, networked, studied, and when opportunity knocked, he was ready. He would prove them wrong. Chapter 2. The Young General. The French Revolution was in full swing, and they needed strong leaders. At just 24, Napoleon was already commanding armies. His first big challenge, the Siege of Toulon, a British stronghold. As a young captain, he came up with a wild plan. Land troops behind enemy lines to cut off their supplies. It was risky, but brilliant. He kicked the British out, and suddenly, everyone in France was paying attention. Then Paris erupted in chaos. While leaders were hesitant, Napoleon took charge and crushed the uprising with a whiff of grape shot, saving the government. This got him a promotion to command the army of Italy, which was in shambles, demoralized, and unpaid. But Napoleon turned those ragtag troops into winners. His speed and bold tactics changed the game. Austerlitz was his crowning glory, where he lured the Austrians and Russians into a trap and wiped them out. His victories reshaped northern Italy and spread revolutionary ideals across Europe. His rise was meteoric, but his stay in power was shaky. The Directory, France's ruling body, was unstable and unpopular. Napoleon saw his chance and took it. In November 1799, he staged a coup d'etat, seizing power in a bloodless takeover. He consolidated power, ending the chaos, stabilizing the economy, and reforming laws. The Napoleonic era had begun. Chapter 3. Egypt and the Legend. With France stabilized, Napoleon set his sights on new conquests, seeking not just territory, but glory. He aimed to cripple Britain's hold on the seas. So he led an invasion into Egypt, striking at the heart of British trade. Though the campaign itself was inconclusive, its impact was immense. Napoleon wasn't just a soldier. He was a legend in the making. His accomplishments during the Egyptian campaign further cemented his reputation as a brilliant strategist and conqueror. He established scientific and cultural institutions, encouraging exploration and discovery. The discovery of the Rosetta Stone, a key to deciphering hieroglyphics, was a monumental achievement during his campaign. This event sparked interest in ancient Egyptian civilization and helped unravel its mysteries. Napoleon was hailed as a champion of science and learning. Back in France, however, the situation was dire. The Directory's opponents were gaining ground. Napoleon saw an opportunity to expand his influence and solidify his power. With popular support, when the opportunity arose, he seized it. In a dramatic move, he returned to France and quickly established control, ending the French Revolution and ushering in a new era in French history. Chapter 4: The Emperor. By 1804, Napoleon's victories across Europe had made him a legend. But titles meant little. He wanted crowns. On December 2nd, 1804, he crowned himself Emperor of the French. He did it in style, in front of the Pope, who couldn't believe his luck. Napoleon walked so the Pope could crawl. As Emperor, he was absolute, but he played the game well. He enacted progressive reforms. The Napoleonic Code, which emphasized equality before the law and property rights, still influences legal systems today. He reorganized education, created the Bank of France, stabilized the currency. But peace was never his language. War was. He carved out a vast empire, not through conquest alone, but shrewd diplomacy. He placed family and allies on thrones, reshaping Europe's map. His greatest victories: Austerlitz, Jena. He defeated the Austrians, Russians, Prussians, Swedes. No one could stop him. He was invincible, or so it seemed. Each victory swelled his empire, but also his enemies. A coalition of powers rose to stop him. They failed, but one campaign would change everything. Master of Europe. Napoleon's ambition knew no bounds. In 1812, he marched on Russia with 600,000 men. The Russians didn't fight. They burned everything. Moscow was taken, but empty. Winter arrived, bringing starvation, frostbite, and slaughter. Fewer than 100,000 men returned. Napoleon's empire was bleeding. Still, he fought on, desperate for a last stand. Paris fell. Napoleon was forced to abdicate. He was exiled to Elba, a tiny island off the coast of Italy. There he plotted his return. But storms don't die silently. In 1815, he escaped, landed in France, and raised an army. For 100 glorious days, he was back. But the coalition was prepared. At Waterloo, Napoleon's brilliance shone, but his strength was gone. He lost. They exiled him again, this time to St. Helena, a remote rock in the Atlantic. There he spent his final years, cut off from the world. Chapter 6: The Beginning of the End. Napoleon's story is one of triumph and tragedy, ambition and exile. He left an indelible mark on history, reshaping Europe and inspiring generations with his military genius and controversial reign. From his early days as a young general during the French Revolution to his rise as emperor and his eventual downfall at war, Napoleon's journey is a captivating tale of power, glory, and ultimate defeat. His legacy continues to be debated by historians, with some hailing him as a visionary leader and others condemning him as a ruthless dictator. Nevertheless, Napoleon Bonaparte remains an iconic figure whose impact on world history is undeniable. Chapter 7: Fall and Exile. Napoleon's fall from grace was swift and dramatic. Following his defeat at Waterloo, he was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. There he spent his final years, far from the grandeur of Paris and the battlefield. Napoleon's health deteriorated during his exile. He suffered from various ailments, including stomach problems and ulcers. Despite his physical discomfort, he remained active intellectually, writing his memoirs and engaging in discussions with his small entourage. He expressed his thoughts on a wide range of topics, including his military campaigns, political philosophy, and personal reflections. Napoleon's thoughts offer a glimpse into the mind of a brilliant strategist and troubled soul. He grappled with the consequences of his actions and the complexities of power. Napoleon's writings from exile provide a valuable perspective on the man behind the legend. During his exile, Napoleon's relationship with his captors was complex. While he was generally treated well, he was also subject to strict surveillance and restrictions. The British governor of St. Helena closely monitored Napoleon's activities and correspondence, aware of his potential threat. Despite these constraints, Napoleon managed to maintain a certain degree of communication with the outside world. He received visits from family members and friends, and he engaged in diplomatic exchanges with European leaders. Through these interactions, Napoleon kept abreast of political developments and expressed his views on matters of international concern. He continued to be a prominent figure in European affairs, even from his remote exile. In his final years, Napoleon experienced moments of hope and despair. He received news of the growing unrest in Europe and the desire for peace and reconciliation. These developments offered him hope for a possible return to France or a restoration of his former glory. However, these hopes were dashed, as the European powers remained steadfast in their opposition to his reinstatement. As time passed, Napoleon's health continued to deteriorate. He suffered from chronic illnesses, and his mental state became increasingly fragile. Despite his physical and emotional struggles, he continued to write, pouring his thoughts and feelings into his pen. These writings provide a poignant account of his decline, offer insight into the inner turmoil of a man stripped of power and prestige. On May 5th, he died on St. Helena, far from the adulation of his supporters and the glare of his enemies. His passing marked the end of an era and left a profound impact on European politics in the course of history. Chapter 8. Legacy Eternal. Napoleon's story is a saga of ambition, conquest, and ultimately tragic downfall. He left an enduring legacy that continues to captivate historians and enthusiasts of history. Napoleon's impact on warfare and military tactics was profound. He introduced innovative strategies and techniques that revolutionized the way wars were fought. His emphasis on speed, maneuverability, and firepower had a lasting influence on military doctrine. Moreover, Napoleon's conquests reshaped the political landscape of Europe. He dissolved old alliances, established new kingdoms, and spread the ideals of the French Revolution throughout the continent. His Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive legal system, became a model for many nations and is still influential today. Napoleon's legacy is a subject of ongoing debate and discussion. Supporters view him as a visionary leader, a brilliant military strategist, and a champion of progress. His accomplishments in law, governance, and military tactics are celebrated. Conversely, his critics condemn him as a ruthless dictator, an aggressor who caused widespread destruction and suffering. The legacy of Napoleon serves as a reminder of the complexities of history and the enduring impact of one man's ambition and deeds on the course of human events. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and times of Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who became an icon of ambition, military genius, and controversial leadership. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, where you can find more captivating stories of history's greatest leaders and conquerors. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on Napoleon's legacy and the events that shaped his extraordinary life.